Hi vinyl community, it's Mike here, and today I want to show you what I picked up at Leeds Record Fair a little under 2 weeks ago. I'll also show you some lovely VCLT that I received from my mate Nick's Vinyl Butty, who was also at the Record Fair, and I'll round off with a couple of new releases that I picked up in the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I'll start off with the stuff that I purchased at the Record Fair. And first off, it's the Milkshakes, and it's their album called Four, which, no surprise, is the fourth album by the Milkshakes from 1983. This is a reissue, and as you can see, it says The Men with the Golden Guitars. And this is one of the many sort of incarnations of Wild Billy Childish. He's in all sorts of different bands, as well as recording as himself. And this is very much sort of rock and roll tinged 60s garage, and it's really lo-fi and it's really lovely. And as I say, it's all instrumentals. And I just read to you what Billy actually says about the album itself, and this gives you a really good idea about what they're all about, really. So first of all, he says that the band damns contemporary prejudices for the self-important, expensive, fashionable, sleek, stylised, computerised, dehumanised, humourless, barren, boring, clever, synthesised and dull. The Milkshakes stand for the dusty valve and the rusty guitar string. And it says, 4 types of excitement found on this LP. The grinding rasp of tortured cheese wire, the machine gun rattle of reverberating cow's hide, the steely-eyed screech of demented nose flutes, and the seething tide of the big bad bass. Altogether, I think you will agree, they offer you the most menacing instrumental in the world. And yeah, this is fantastic. I really love the Milkshakes. In fact, I love anything that Billy does, quite honestly. And this is, as I say, this is no exception. And there's a band there, and they try and keep it sort of authentic, mid-60s, garage, and it's really really nice. And I mean, even the album itself is sort of faked up to look like a 1960s album, and of course it's in mono, isn't it? So that was the first one, and it was a really good find. Right, next off, this is an album from the English folk revival of the mid '60s, and it's from 1966, and it's a self-titled album by the Young Tradition. There they are. They were a trio, and so this is their self-titled album, and you can probably see all the tracks there, and the people on this album. You've got Peter Bellamy. Now, Peter Bellamy is probably the most well-known now of the three of them. And he's been involved in all sorts of production work. And he did a folk opera about the transports, about people being transported, I think to America at the time. And yeah, that's really good. I've got that on a CD sort of box set, and it's excellent. But as I say, there's three of them, and it tells you a bit about them on the album cover, and I was quite sort of tickled by this. So it says, Peter, that's Peter Bellamy, is 22. In group songs, he sings a melody. He was an art student in his native Norfolk and in Kent, before coming to London to make a career as a singer. He has a straggly moustache, and his blonde hair is straight and shoulder length. He favours wild ties, baggy trousers and coloured waistcoats. There you go. So you got a really nice picture of what Peter Bellamy was all about in 1966, haven't you? It says, next to English songs, the music he digs most is rock and roll. Then it says Heather, and the Heather is Heather Wood. And Heather... I've lost my place now. Yeah, Heather puts harmonies between Peter's melody and Royston's bass. She is 21 and wears anything on stage. Before meeting the other two, she was an army officer cadet and had done time at London University. She is proud of her Yorkshire birth and is a tireless folklorist. And then finally there's Royston, that's Royston Wood, but Royston Wood and Heather Wood are not related, and in fact I think they did an album later on that was called No Relation, an album with the two of them. And Royston is the daddy of the group as far as age goes. He's 31, and in his time he has been a teacher, an advertising executive and a long-distance lorry driver. It doesn't matter to him that he comes from Surrey. He maintains his dignity by wearing elegant clothes and by trying to look his age. So, you know, that's what these guys are all about. And the tracks on here, there's some really, really good sort of folk standards here, really. You've got Biker Hill, which I suppose is probably Martin Carthy and Dave Swarbrick are the most famous, I think, for Biker Hill. You've got the Bold Fisherman, Betsy the Serving Maid, Henry the Poacher, the Banks of Claudy, Derry Down Fair, and some others. Pretty Nancy of Yarmouth it rounds off with. So this is really nice, sort of, you know, traditional folk. A lot of it is sung a cappella, and it's a really nice album to have, especially if you know, you're into the English folk revival, and if you've read the book Electric Eden. I think there's a few pages about the young tradition, at around about page 190 or thereabouts. So if you want to know more, go and read the book. Right. Changing tack entirely. An album from 1982. And this is the third album from a punk band or post-punk band from Wallsend, which is in the northeast of England, quite near to Newcastle. And they're called The Wall, and this album is called Dirges and Anthems. As I say, it's a third album. It's a lot more sort of post-punky than their first two albums, which are more straightforward punk, especially the first album. And it's really good stuff. And they're sort of one of the sort of unsung hero bands of British punk, I think. You know, people don't really mention them. They didn't have any real success, you know, at the time, but they're a really excellent band. And if you like English or British punk from the first wave from the 70s, then they're bound for you. And this came with a single as well, a bonus single. And yeah, it's a really nice bit of post punk. Who Are You? There's even a bit of sort of almost like ska in here, really, and I think that's a track Wonder Kid. And you got Only Dreaming, which is a good track. English History is brilliant, the second to last track on side 2. But you know, altogether it's a great album. So as I say, you know, if you're looking for something, you know, of British punk that is a little bit different from what people normally talk about, then, you know, go and find The Wall, because they're pretty good. Right, and changing tack again in a completely different direction. This is an album from 1977, and it's a band that I've always liked, but I've never been a massive fan of them. You know, I bought their stuff from time to time, and I've always loved what I've heard. And this is Hawkwind. And this is Quark, Strangeness and Charm, and this album was a sort of a new departure for them, and in the album, on the inner, if I can get it out, on the inner sleeve, you got sort of all this here sort of handwritten stuff, and it talks about how the band had transformed itself both in style and personnel, you know, since their previous album, and they say that they felt they were getting a bit sort of left behind. You know, that they weren't really moving with the times, and this was their sort of attempt to do that. And you know, as you'd imagine, it is quite psyche, but it's very poppy. In fact, it's almost a pop album, almost, but not quite. But this is the first album that they did without Nick Turner, and also sort of Alan Powell was gone from the band as well by the time this was recorded, and Aid Shaw was replaced by Paul Randolph during the recording of this album. And as I say, it's quite poppy. I do like it. Spirit of the Age, the first track on side one, I really like. It really gets into it, and then you've got the title track which opens up side two, Quark, Strangeness and Charm, which again is a track that I really like. But this is an album that I've not owned it on vinyl before. I had a CD of it for years and years, and it's really nice stuff. But it's not your usual Hawkwind. It's not your sort of your heavy psych Hawkwind. But it's no worse for that. Right. So next one is I think this is the final record that I picked up at the Record Fair, and it's compilation, and it's Blue Beat, the Blue Beat label. Blue Beat is back in town, 1960 to 2020, so it's 60th anniversary compilation of Blue Beat stuff. And I bought this because whenever I'm with Nick at a record fair, I always end up with some ska or some reggae or something of that ilk, and it's really nice when I've got Nick there, because he knows so much about this stuff. And I think sometimes I need a bit of guidance when it comes to, particularly to reggae. But I'm getting there. I'm starting to learn. But Blue Beat is one of these labels that Nick said, if you want to get into ska, then Blue Beat is a really good label to get into. And he was having a look at this while we were digging through, and he said, I've got that. And so I said, is it any good? And he said yes. So I picked it up, and it is. But before I show you what's on the album, I've also got this, and it's a CD sort of box set of Blue Beat, and this is something that Nick sent to me some months ago. Again, because we were talking about ska and reggae, this is the original sound of ska and Jamaican R&B. And it's really good stuff. And the thing is that the person who started the whole sort of Blue Beat thing, he was he brought back records from the States, and then released them in the UK. So it's all this sort of stuff that was going on in the in the Caribbean, in the USA, that people in the UK didn't know about. And there's some really good stuff in this, and this is a really good sort of overview of the 60 years of Blue Beat. So you've got starts off with a track by Marcus Upbeat called Blue Beat is Back in Town, and I don't think we got a year on that. Oh, it's copyrighted 2020, but it's much earlier than that. You've got Boogie Rock by Laurel Aitken, and Laurel Aitken is really famous. I mean, even I've heard of Laurel Aitken, and that's got, as I say, Boogie Rock, really good. Then you've got Oh Carolina by the Folks Brothers with the Count Ossie Afro combo, and that's really really fantastic stuff. Then One Step Beyond. And it's One Step Beyond, and it's madness. And this is a track written by Cecil Campbell, and it's not the it's not the madness sort of single version, or even the LP version. It's something different. It's a different recording of that, and it's really good. Miss Lulu by Derek Morgan, Call Me My Pet by Owen Gray, which goes right back to 1963. Oh Baby, Sick and Tired with the Carib Beats, and that's Ewan and Jerry, again from the 60s, 1967. What else we got in here? Oh, Get Along Without You Now, which is a track that I think most people will know. And this is recorded by Bad Manners featuring Verona. So, Bad Manners, one of the great sort of two-tone signings, and yeah, very good. And then another ska band from the 80s in the UK. Got Rough Rider by The Beat. We'll Have a Ball by The Marvels featuring Donna Hines, and it goes on, and it finishes off with Prince Buster, and it's Enjoy Yourself, It's Later Than You Think. Again, a track that people probably will know anyway, and it's Prince Buster with Jules Holland. And I remember seeing this. It was on Jules Holland's Later with Jules Holland programme when the Prince Buster was on, and Jules accompanied him on the piano, and so that's it. So this is really, really, really good compilation album, particularly if you want to get into ska, really. And that brings me on to the stuff that my mate Nick gave me. So first of all, he gave me this, and it's the latest edition of Two Tone magazine. Two Tone, before, during, and after, and this is a magazine that's printed by a guy called Lee Morris, who's a really big two-tone fan. And again, probably about a year ago now, Nick also gave me the book that Lee had published about two-tone. But this is sort of up to date, and there's various profiles and interviews, and yeah, really, really nice read. So I haven't actually got around to actually reading this edition yet, but I certainly will. So if you like two-tone, try and check out this little magazine. Right, and next off, VCLT from Nick, and the first one. I mean, we both like collecting Stiff Records, anything on Stiff Records label, and we also both love Madness. And I got the 7-inch of this, but not the 12-inch until now. And this is Madness, the return of the Los Palmas 7. And there you go. And Nick told me that he picked this up, and especially to sort of send it on to me. And I'll show you it's on the Stiff label, as you can see. And then on the other side, there's the a bespoke label. But he said, when he picked this 12-inch up, he said, it came initially with a comic, and the comic wasn't with it. But he said he had a spare copy of the comic. So there you go. So there you go. This is the Naughty Boys, Madness Comics, not the Beano. So it's not the Bash Street Kids. It's not Dennis the Menace. It's Madness. So there you go. So this is quite a fun little thing, and I didn't even realise that there was a comic with this initially, and yeah, it's really nice to have all the extras into it with these things. So that's that. And finally, Nick picked this up, and it's not his sort of music, but he thought, yeah, it would be my sort of music, and it definitely is my sort of music, and it's this one, and it was on a sort of a budget label called Contour, and it's from 1973, and you can see it's called Afro Rock Festival, and you've got bands on here. You've got Osibisa, Assegai, Chaka, Grutz, and Simba. And this is a really cracking compilation, I must say. It's absolutely brilliant. So each of the bands has two tracks each. So Chaka do African Rhapsody Parts 1 and Part 2. Osibisa do Black Ant and Kotoka. Simba do Move In and a really good version of Louie Louie. Assegai, their two tracks are Kondo and Jabilar. And then Grutz, it's Tikspila and Listen Here. And I mean, the band Assegai were sort of almost like a who's who of African music at the time, and probably the most notable member of the band would be the great sort of jazz, township jazz, South African saxophonist Duda Pukwana, and he was in Assegai. So yeah, this is a cracking album, Nick. So thanks very much, brilliant. Right, so we're nearly there because we're just down to a couple of new releases, and I'm pretty certain these are new releases that you probably haven't got, because they're quite esoteric, I suppose. This is a self-titled album, Amarante and Cerisier, and it's a sort of a bit folky, a bit sort of poppy, really. And the two people here, they're from Belgium, and there's Maurizio Amarante, and he plays the classical guitar, and then you've got Marine de Billy Cerisier, and she's a singer. And all I can say is that her voice is very reminiscent of 60s Brigitte Fontaine. So if you think, Brigitte Fontaine and Areski, those sort of albums, then that's her voice. That's what she sounds like. And accompanied by this sort of absolutely brilliant classical guitar. This is an absolutely brilliant album, and so you can see the tracks there, all in French, and it's lovely. So if you have a mind to sort of look outside of the USA and the UK for some new music, then you could do worse than this. And it's on the brilliant Belgian label Okrana, and Okrana are really excellent. I mean, just about everything they do is really top notch. The one thing I do have an issue with is that quite often they issue stuff on 10-inch rather than 12-inch, and you might get a set, two 10-inch set, which I'll much prefer 12-inch quite honestly, but that's their thing. And lastly, not a singer but a band, and this is Stella Kola, and this is debut album from these two, and they're a duo. It's Beverly Ketch, who's a singer, and Robert Thomas, and he plays the guitar mainly, so you can see them there, and there's a number of other musicians as well on this album. And this is this is an album released very recently, and again I think it's excellent. There you go. There's just sort of lyrics there on the inside, and you can see the lovely bespoke sort of label there. So it's a folky album. I say this quite a lot, but it's true this time, that if you like Vashti Bunyan, I think you'd like Stella Kola. So it's an excellent album. So that's it. So that's everything. Everything I want to show you this time. Once again, thanks for the company at Leeds Record Fair, Nick, and thanks also for the lovely VCLT. So until next time, I'll see you. Bye-bye. Bye.